Hello, everybody. Please excuse the rather disheveled look. I just spent a couple hours outside in front of a bonfire, so that is why I look the way that I do. And I just wanted to come inside and get some artwork worked on and, yeah, just hang out and chill on the internet. So, let's get into that. Share screen. There we go. And you know what? We might as well record that as well. Who knows when you may end up using that. So let's get started with that. So if you were watching the CG Herald show, then you'll recognize this little piece. It was the sketch of John Byrne's Talisman that I drew on Monday. And I figured I might as well get some inking done on it because I'm still working on inking and I feel like I could do better. Usually it's the cross hatching that gets me, so whenever I get to that point, then we'll see how I do. Gonna move that out of the way. There we go. All right. Now we can zoom in up here. And would you look at that? I forgot to do some sketching. Okay, that's good. And that's good right there. Okay. So let's combine these two layers so that they are both one, and we can get into the inking. All right. Let's knock down the opacity just a bit. And then we can get into actually inking over this sketch. So let's start with that. And we will see how this goes. Nope. All right. Like I said on Monday, I am still getting used to working with line weights, so we shall see if I improve by the end of this or if I continue to just be rather mediocre. Right. I do know that that part's going to be thinner than the outside part. Because it's not going to draw as much attention. Speaking of drawing attention, I'm going to have a very busy day before 4th of July because I have several video ideas that I'm going to be working on, or at least getting some of the stuff filmed for tomorrow. So that's going to be rather interesting, but it'll be fun. One's going to be, I'm still tossing around the idea for it, but it's like with all of the stuff that's going on with like Sony getting rid of the discs for PlayStation and Grand Theft Auto 6 getting rid of its disc, which is complete and utter bullshit. on both accounts. I feel like there's creative opportunities whenever it comes to making content around that. So who knows? I may end up making something like a mini music video or something like that. Maybe in like the same vein as like a commercial or something. But we'll see. That's very much just a little pipe dream and something random that I was coming up with, and may or may not come to fruition. We will see. All right, let's work on the eyebrows. That might be a bit too thick. That works. Okay. That is fine. Now let's work on the nose. No, that needs to be a little bit thinner. There we are. That looks weird. Okay, I can get behind that. That needs to come down just... Yeah, that part definitely needs to come down. Whoop, too much. Again, too much. Good Lord. I have a feeling that inking is definitely much more delicate than sketching. And that should be a no-brainer, because you're getting in there with all the minute details. And if I was doing this with paper, then it would be with actual ink. So that makes sense why it would be much more precise. Okay. Good Lord. Okay, that works. Let's make that top eyelid a little bit thicker. There we go. All right. I sort of like how that like bleeds down into the bottom eyelid. Then this is going to be thin so as to not take away focus. And I'll come back for the inside of the eye a little bit later. Nope. So, with 4th of July coming up, do you guys have any plans for your celebrations? Or is it just going to be like hang out with the family and drink beer on the porch and shoot off some fireworks? and traumatize some neighborhood pets. As of right now, I don't really have any plans. I was probably going to try to do a draw stream and maybe do like a patriotic hero. Don't know if I would drink on live stream yet, but there is a possibility of that. We shall see. It might get me more talkative. It always seems to work whenever I'm at like a party or something. So whenever I get drunk, I usually end up getting like more talkative and more like loose. So I might drink a little bit. Of course, then you might not get me off stream. Okay, that works. Oop. I need to know where my finger's going. Okay. Now, there have been some times whenever I've seen artists shade in the top part of the eye and just make that entire thing black. I don't hate that. I might do that. Nope. Now what happened? Okay. I'm actually okay with that. Let's try with the other eye. I'm going to have to consult one of my many art books over there or my reference images that I have saved for like artists that I like and see if any of them do it similar to this. I actually like how that turned out. And while I'm at it, I might as well color those in because she did have black hair. So it would make sense that she would have those as black as well. Okay. Now let's get into the... Oh, I forgot these. Never mind. Gotta get a thin line there. Okay. That works. No. Yeah, let's get into the mouth. No. This part has to be thicker. What is... Sorry, my phone keeps going off. I just need to see what the notifications are. Oh, it's Michael Bancroft streams. If you want to see good art, go and watch Bancroft. He is really, really good. And it sounds like people are already shooting off fireworks. They're 2 days early, but they're shooting off fireworks. I think there was a guy who was like shooting off a gun at some point. But I don't have an ear for that, so I wouldn't know specifically if it was actually one or not. Or if it was just like a firecracker. Okay. Got that. A little bit of an indent there. That can work. Then get her teeth up here. Mouth goes down. Then that gets a bit thicker. And usually the bottom lip is thicker than the top one. That much I do know. It's definitely more pronounced that way with like guys rather than women, but it still usually holds true. And I say usually because there are some women who have like lip fillers and um, cosmetic surgeries and stuff like that. But general rule of thumb is usually the top lip is um, a little bit. I don't want to say thinner, but like the words that are coming to mind are less luscious. If you want to accept that as a phrase you want to hear. Okay. And the inside of the mouth would be, yep, that can work. Okay. Again, I am actually surprised at how good this is turning out. So she'll have a sharp face. Because in all of the reference images, like even the ones that I was. Did I show any on Monday? I'm not sure if I did. But in all the reference images that I was seeing, she had like a very, like a long Native American face. So having that sharper chin would definitely help her stand out in that way. Okay, so that could work. Because I don't want her to have like it cut like a box or like have it as that much of a sharp edge. But I'll see how it looks. Nope. And that's my finger. There we go. Get that there. And that there. Okay. And then it's going to come the little bit more difficult part of inking her hair. Let's do this. Because like the outside strands will be much thicker than the like more inner strands. Just to sort of, how do I put this? The parts of the hair that will form like a more cohesive area will be thicker, while the parts that are like on the inside of those areas will be smaller, so that it doesn't take away from the like the divisions between the sections of the hair. So it'll be like, say there's this outer section of hair right here, and you as the viewer are meant to see that as like a strand of hair that is supposed to be like eye-catching, because it's like at the front, and it's it's one of the few strands of hair that's like hanging down from like this like part in the middle. I'm moving my hand on the screen, and you're not and it's like I think that you can see it, but you can't. It's like this area right here where it's coming out from. And whenever you have that, then you want person reading to have their eye follow through that. So in certain areas of that hair, you can make it a bit thicker, like in this area. Just push down on the pencil a little bit and make it pop out a bit more. And right in the parts where it's like in the middle, you can leave those a bit more thin. Whoops. Nope. There we go. Okay. Now this part right here, this part can be done thin, because it's not meant to draw attention away from the rest of it. So you can have that be like that. Just add these bits of hair in here. And since this part is meant to not be as noticeable, you can make that thinner as well. And throw in some thinner lines in here to break it up too. Okay. So thicker line to draw the attention. And where's this one going? This one is going down here. All right. Then we got a little bit right there. That goes all the way up. Okay. This one comes to a head right there. That one carries over a bit too much. So right at that thin part is where it's going to be like a thinner inking line. And then right at the curve where there's more strands of hair that are together, that is where it's going to be a bit thicker. Alrighty. And I might have just messed up where that hair was supposed to go, but I'm going to roll with it because I think I like that actually better. So, because I think that it was supposed to go down this way rather than go down the other way. But do not fret, I can make this work. Because I can just have it go right down here. If my fingers don't decide to mess it up. Okay. We'll get that curve in there. Throw in that. Throw in another thin line that goes right behind it. And another one. Even just doing this little bit of inking this hair will definitely shows me how intricate the inking process is, especially if like an artist has a very detail oriented art style. It really makes me appreciate all the comic artists who spend a hell of a lot of time working on their craft. It's like guys like the two that come to mind are like EVS and Shane Davis, because I see a lot of their art streams and they have fantastic art styles and they have a lot of detail in their art styles. So I cannot imagine being in their shoes and putting that much work into even just like I'm working on just like a character here and they put in like pages and pages of work on their comics, and it's like it really makes you think about like how much time you can actually like devote to working on this stuff, because whenever you look at it it's like EVS he does like a quick sketch to like lay out where stuff is and then he just goes right into pens, and it's like I don't know how you do it, but bravo to you. Because that would be far too stressful for me to just go straight into pens. And it's like he has so much detail that he has to lay out in those pages, and it's like it's crazy. Okay, got that. on the outside, I'll have a thicker line. Okay. So that side is good for now. Or at least that side of like her face area is good. Now I want to see, should I think what I need to do is I need to ink the energy blast that's like coming out of her hands, and then I'll do the hair behind it. One second. I just need to confirm with the reference photos if the colors that are in the energy is like if it's a flat color or if it's a transparent color. Because if it's a flat color, then I'll do it so that the inking is on top of that layer. And if it's not, then I'll just do like the line work through all of it. Because like if you look at some like older comics, like maybe back in like the 80s or 90s, then some of the colors are just like flat colors with a lot of inking. And I'm trying to see if the reference image that I was using on Monday has that look to it. Now I just need to find it. It all comes down to if I named it or not. If I didn't name it, then I'm going to be searching for an image that I don't know where it is. Let's see. Talisman. All right, I'm through the S's. Okay, so here it is. Okay, so it is like that old-time comic look. So it is all one flat color in the areas where there is color and a lot of shading. So I'm going to I'm going to ink the energy blast here. The good thing about this is that it doesn't have to be pretty, because it's really not something that you're going to pay a lot of attention to, because all you really need to know is that it's energy blasts, and whatever is like the shape coming out of here, it just has to have like the motion of it coming away from her hand. So with everything, that wasn't supposed to happen. With everything coming out from her hand, like it's being like pulled away from it, so long as the general motion is there, then it doesn't need to look pretty. Let's say that. Oh, I think this is my first Rumble chat actually from Accidentally Suave. It looks so good. So it looks good so far. Great job on the anatomy proportions. Thank you. Yeah, it was. I worked on that on Monday, and needless to say, it was quite eye-opening in a good way. And it's probably the best that I've had anatomy look in a while, and that's entirely on accident. It's like sometimes I get surprised at how I just like stumble into things and how easy something is whenever you just I don't know, whenever you I guess take your time and just work it out like you're I don't know, like you're just getting started with it. So that method really helped with like the hands and stuff. And I think it's going to help with some of the rest of my art as well. And accidentally suave says, "Haha, sounds like you might be accidentally suave too." I don't know about that. Might need to. Usually, the suaveness comes out whenever I'm a couple mixed drinks in. Who knows? That might come out in I don't know, maybe a New Year's stream if I decide to drink during it. We shall see. All right. But I am glad to see that you're watching over on Rumble. I am trying to grow that part of the channel. So glad to see that you're there and representing the Rumble gang. Let's separate this part from the rest of it just to add in some difference there. Okay. And this is the part where it just got me just throwing random stuff at the wall over here. Okay. And accidentally suave says, "That's awesome. We need more artists over here. Lots have come over the last couple of years, but I know there's more out there." Yeah, I've tried looking for other artists on Rumble, but it's like even whenever I put in like artist or like drawing stuff, the search engine part of Rumble is it can use some work. So a lot of times I'll just come across something entirely accidentally, or I'll just follow someone over from YouTube over to Rumble. Really, that's the only way that I know of to see people on there. Um, there's a lot of like I know that there's like a lot of political stuff on Rumble. I don't have a problem with it, but it does seem to like overpower the site. And it does make like finding artists and like the more artistic side a little bit difficult on Rumble. But yeah, I think it would be beneficial for a lot of artists to do like simulcasts on YouTube and on Rumble. Even just so you can say I have a backup in case YouTube goes down. So, I think it'd be good to for more artists to come over here. Look up Making Art and Eric John Pizza Artist on here. Great couple of guys and talented too. I will definitely do that after the stream. Thank you. Um, if you don't mind me asking, what kind of art do they usually do? And Swan City Ceramics is another good channel if you like pottery. I've I've tried pottery like once or twice, and I could never get it to work out the way that I wanted it to. Plus, that shit's expensive. There's like a craft store near me, and that stuff is. I looked up their prices one time, and good God, that is. I'd have to take out a second job just for that if I wanted it to be good. Yeah, usually whenever I'm looking for like art stuff, whether it be on YouTube or on Rumble, it's usually like either comic books or like web comics or anime or I was gonna say anime, but like manga. Usually it's stuff like that. Character design. Usually anything that I can look at to try to learn from and also be inspired by. Because like I see a lot of character artists and just like artists in general on like Twitter and Instagram, and a lot of their characters, it's just like I wish I could have like I could draw that type of anatomy and make it look really appealing like they do. Okay, good. That's coming along pretty good. And making art makes abstract to more realistic acrylic art, and Eric John Pizza Artist makes art out of literal pizzas. That sounds very interesting and also delicious. That would be. You have to wonder, like, what do people think of, like, to even, like, what do people do to even, like, think of an idea like that? Because I certainly wouldn't. And sadly, it looks like a lot of artists tried to post on here 3 years ago and then stopped. Then Rumble took off into more mainstream like 2 years ago. Yeah, I've seen a lot of like, whenever I have seen people on like artists on Rumble, it's like last post 2 years ago, last stream 3 years ago. And it's like, I understand why they did that, because if something seems like it's going to pop off and then it sort of like dips, then it's like, do you really want to put the time into it? I wish Slew and Jazza from YouTube would come over here. I don't know who Slew is. Jazza, I think he has a big enough audience that he's not going to want to come over unless he gets like really desperate. And it's unfortunate that that's the way of thinking sometimes, but it I think it's how do I put this? I think it's more likely that smaller creators would come over to Rumble because they have more of an opportunity to get bigger over here. Or I say over here like I'm streaming here exclusively, and here I'm on both. Since there's not a lot of like big creators on Rumble, I feel like there is certainly more of that opportunity on there than it is on YouTube. I know that I put out my recent stuff that I put out, like my streams and my video that I put out, whereas trying to draw a hot woman while eating some spicy food. That has seemed to do better on Rumble than it has on YouTube. So I think it really depends on people being aware of the site and wanting to put the time into actually doing it. Plus, they also would have to get used to the back end of Rumble. I know that was one of my big hangups whenever I first started it. And it was like, even just like getting something set up to post it on there was it was how do I put it? It seemed archaic, but now it seems like it's much more streamlined. So now it's easier and I like it much better. Some of it's just time constraints. I've been so busy changing careers, I haven't been able to stream in 2 years either. That's also true. I know that a lot of people do have to deal with that. And especially with the job market the way that it is quite crazy. So if people are spending more time like trying to search for pardon me, search for like other avenues of work or try to change careers, then yeah, that will definitely eat into their time and definitely cut back on their streaming. And Rumble allows you to stream to both Rumble and YouTube. I just don't see why people don't do both. From those I talk to, it's easier to stream from Rumble than YouTube. I haven't streamed from their sites directly. Like I use StreamYard, and I know that a lot of other people use StreamYard too, and that gives you the option to stream from both simultaneously. I know that some other people they stream to like directly to Twitter or X, whichever one you want to call it. And I think also to Kick and Locals, and there's a lot of different options. But I think that using StreamYard is um, it's good to have it in one place. And I think that I don't know how you do it on Rumble itself, because whenever I try to I try to set up the go live, and whenever I do get it set up, it usually says that you need to have some sort of s- uh, some sort of streaming program, hence the StreamYards. But I know that you could probably also do it with like OBS and go from there. But for me, StreamYards is more streamlined, and I don't have to teach myself OBS and go from there. Okay. Now let's do this part of the hair. I hear you, and I can't remember if anyone I know uses StreamYard. I use OBS and know that works for sure. Yeah, it's like the three that I hear the most about are StreamYard, OBS, and Restream. I am just most familiar with StreamYard because I used it 2 years ago. Because I used to stream with an internet buddy of mine who has since disappeared from the internet. And we would always use StreamYards for our weekly show. Or I should say his weekly show, because he was the one who would host it. And then whenever I was doing my own streams, that's what I would use too, because that was what I was familiar with. And it just seems to be I don't know, the most used streaming software in most of the circles that I hang around with. But yeah, I have heard good things about OBS. It's just a matter of it's not the one that I'm familiar with. Okay. So accidentally suave, if you're still there, what kind of art do you usually gravitate towards? Is it usually the more abstract stuff, or do you usually hang around like the comic circles? Since it seems like you know a lot of like the art space on Rumble. Okay, let's add some more lines in here. No, that looks a little weird. Okay. Okay, that works. But I need to add some more thickness to this line so that it stands out. And what I'm also noticing is that, at least in StreamYard, if there are viewers on Rumble, it doesn't show it on the live counter. So just have to guess as to whether there is anybody in there. So it's hard to say. I bounce around from comic style to landscapes or even abstract. I've dabbled in impressionist style and surrealism to mixed media, from pencils and pens to acrylics and watercolor. You have a very varied taste in art. I applaud you. That is definitely more than I could say for myself. Yeah, I usually stick to like comic book style art, and in that same vein, manga style. I guess that's because of my proclivity to character design. No. Okay, that works. So, Accidentally Suave, do you have a Rumble channel where you do art? Or are you merely an observer? That going. And this part up here. Nope. So the one part that I hate is having to go back over the lines to get them to line up properly. I once made a Van Gogh Starry Night mashup with Nightmare Before Christmas painting for my wife. That sounds like it would be very intriguing. That would like combinations like that would be a very interesting video to see. And it looks like you do have a channel, you just haven't posted in a while, but hope to get back to it one day soon. Give me a moment. I'm on my other screen. Rumble the Art Cave. The Cave. Okay. Those are some pretty cool art. Or if I could actually speak correctly, that is some pretty cool art. Wow. You've got another follower now. On my accidentally suave page, I also used to stream the Chosen TV series. Awesome. Yeah, I've watched the first 3 seasons of that. I was actually getting back into it with some friends of mine, and it's like it sort of fell off because of some like health issues, and haven't gotten back into it. But hopefully that'll be coming back at some point. But yeah, it was fun when it did last. They're releasing season 6 in November, I think. I do need to catch back up on it. I think it was the last. I don't think I've seen the last 2 seasons. Yeah, I think it was the last 2 seasons. I've got some catching up to do. But as you can tell, my time is pulled very thin at times. I might need to suggest that to my buddies, though. It's always good to be reminded every once in a while. Okay, let's put some more right there. Yeah, that works. No, that other one just looks out of place. There we are. Oh man, so much happens in seasons 4 and 5. I've heard that a lot happens. Excuse me. Um, what season was the crucifixion? Was that season 5 or was that season 4? Get that line very thin. Oh, crucifixion hasn't happened yet. Okay. Okay. Then I must really be thrown for a loop because I don't know what season I'm on then. Sometimes time just flies. Okay. Got that. Okay, let's get the arm in so that I can see where the hair is going to be behind. That's coming either season 6 or 7, but I'm pretty sure it's 6. Okay. I'll definitely keep that in mind. Okay. So I forget what time you popped on here accidentally, Suave, but the character that I'm inking right now is John Byrne's character Talisman from the comic series Alpha Flight. And there was a draw stream on Monday. Sorry, I was second guessing where my line was. It's a draw stream of a bunch of former professional. How do I put this? It's a bunch of comic artists who used to work in the mainstream and they do their own work now. A lot of them put out their own stuff in crowdfunding, and it's called Comic Skate Kings. They decided to do a draw stream of John Byrne characters because of the Elsewhen story that John Byrne is putting out now, and I decided to do like my own separate draw along. That was just some fireworks outside, so people were deciding to pop off a little bit early. But where was I? Fireworks got me lost in my train of thought. But yeah, I decided to draw Talisman and see if I could do it. Pretty much just like the guy who hosts the live stream, Ethan Van Sciver, he puts out like a tweet and he says what they're going to be drawing like maybe a half hour before the show starts. So this was my own like personal challenge to myself of just pick a character and draw them and have it be sort of like in that same realm that they were drawing. Because a lot of times I'll just get too far in my own head where I'm just like I have too many ideas and I just don't know what to draw, and I got anxious that it's going to turn out like shit. So this was my way of saying I need to get better at this and hopefully make it look somewhat presentable. And okay, now I can actually get to your question. So you mentioned 80s to 90s comics earlier. Is that when you got into comics? No. I'm only in my 30s and I'm not nearly that old. Even though the thinning hair up here may give you second thoughts about that. But I got into comics. When would I say that I got into comics? Maybe like early 2000s. But I do prefer the comics that came out in like 90s to the 2000s because I really like the art style in them mostly. And I think that it's so much better than current day comics. I like the stories in them so much better. And whenever I was younger, I would get like action figures at like Toys R Us and stuff, and um and those action figures would come with like a single issue comic, and I would read those and get like introduced to the characters through those. And then there was a point whenever I would do like art classes all through like my younger years, and we would sometimes go to like a comic book shop that was open in the area, and we'd go there and we would get some comic books and maybe get some like the free comic book day comics. And I didn't know like all of like the major storylines or anything, but it was interesting. Like I would always get pulled in by the art, and that's mostly because I've spent like most of my life as an artist. But I would definitely not say that I'm like professional in any way. Um, I would say that I'm professional whenever it comes to like graphic design and like layout and stuff. But whenever it comes to like drawing full comic art, still learning on that. And 90s was a great time in comics, art style and stories were wild. Yes, definitely. Plus you had Todd McFarlane and Image Comics shaking up the DC Marvel duopoly. Batman's back broken, Superman died, Wolverine lost his adamantium. Speaking of Batman's back being broken, one of the CG kings who I was talking about earlier is actually Graham Nolan, one of the co-creators of Bane, and he sometimes pops on the stream and he does some art for that as well. And I think Graham is putting out um he's been putting out his own stuff over the past couple of years under his Compass Comics imprint, and he has done continuations of his Monster Island story and some new comics that he's put out too, like the Shanu and um, what is it? It's there's another one. It's like what is it? I forget what it's called, but it's like Manly Tales or something like that. But yeah, he's putting out some good work. It's like seeing all these guys putting out their own stuff and not being beholden to the mainstream. It's it's like watching them take off their leash and just like do their own stuff. It's really cool. And it's like him, Billy Tucci, RT Bear, Aaron Lepresti, all of those guys are doing their own stuff. It's really cool. All right. Yeah, a lot of them are doing continuations of some of the stuff that they had put out before that they still own. I know that art is putting out um, continuations of Black and White that he had at Image, and like I have some of the original um, comic books whenever he released it first through Image, and like even seeing like the progression in his art style was like it is so good. Okay. And sounds like a similar phenomena to when musicians start their own music labels. Their music tends to get better when not under the record label's thumb. Yes. It's like all of these guys are ones that were pushed out of the mainstream because their beliefs did not align with the hyper liberal feminist crazies over at Marvel and DC. So they just decided to do their own thing, and now they're putting out campaigns on crowdfunding sites that are reaching tens of thousands and sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it's I would definitely say to go and check them out because you will not regret it. And I'm sorry, I do not know how to say your name, but Jom F5W5H says, "Hello, what is this?" This is a stream where I am inking a piece of art that I did on Monday. There is the full piece. And right now I am being a little bit slow, but it's my first time being this detailed whenever it comes to inking. And VSync has rated this stream. Thank you, VSync. Hopefully whoever came over from VSync enjoys the video. And accidentally Swab says raid. every time I hear like the raids, I always think of like Viking raids for some reason. Blue prismatic colored pencil. No, this is actually in the program Procreate. So it's really just going up to this corner and just picking this this blue color. I try not to sketch in like black because it's a little bit more difficult for me to see whenever I'm inking stuff. And I usually try to do like what it would be if you were drawing like traditionally, where you have like either like a blue pencil or a red pencil, and you go from there with like inking in black. But yes, it is all digital. If I was going to be doing it traditional, I would have to draw like all the way over on this side, like the far side of my room, because that's where I have all the other stuff. And I don't have space on this desk to actually have like a sketchbook laid out and have a camera like pointed directly down at it. So maybe at some point I'll end up doing that, but I'll have to set up stuff like over on this side of the room for that. And VSync says, might just be me. Might be just me. I'm not sure. It's like I said earlier, StreamYard doesn't show me how many people are watching on Rumble. So I don't know who all is here. And JOM says you can sketch traditional, then scan and preserve the pencils, change the opacity, and ink digitally, preserving both pieces separately. I have heard of doing that. I don't have a scanner, but I have occasionally like taken a picture with my phone and brought it into my iPad. I just like being able to change stuff around digitally quicker than I would if I needed to like draw it out with the pencil. But there are some times whenever I do draw stuff in pencil that I would want to transfer to digital. Maybe I'll end up doing that at some point. Use LED light for better picture scan. That's new to me. I will definitely have to keep that in mind, though. Okay. So, for those of you who are new to the stream, welcome. What I am doing, besides the obviously doing it digitally, is I'm drawing the character Talisman, created by John Byrne and published in the Alpha Flight team comics. This is a carryover from my Monday stream where I did the sketch of her. It was a stream where I was drawing along with various I was drawing along while another stream was going on that I was watching, where it was a bunch of comic professionals who were also drawing the same subject. So it was a test for me to be able to sit down, draw something without much preparation, and actually make it look somewhat decent. All right. Nope, that is a tangent. I do not want tangents. Okay. And this line needs to be thicker to make it stand out a bit more. Okay. That works. The only problem with these longer than an hour streams are sometimes it will get you in the back. Like I need to stretch every once in a while. Okay. So let's throw this in here and try and get this part of her costume taken care of. And we'll see how the inking for her hand ends up being. All right. I want that part to be bunched up ever so slightly. Okay. 1 second, guys. Okay, much better. All right, let's try to keep this so there's not tangents going on here. So there's one thing that I know about comic art, or just any art in general. You want to try to avoid tangents whenever you can. Because sometimes it could just throw off the balance of your piece entirely. Okay. So that going, throw this on here. That might be a bit too much because there still has to be some sort of thickness to her fingers. That could work. That. All right. Then I'll throw this on here. If I thought that sketching this was difficult, then inking is going to be just as bad. Okay. I can get behind that for now. Okay. Okay, I'm okay with that pinky finger. A lot of this will be just me deciding if I'm okay with something, with how something looks, or if I need to click the old undo button and retry. So far, seems to be treating me all right. That looks okay too. Okay. It's funny how sometimes all I need to do is just like shut up and take my time, and then it looks okay. Then let's put that there. No, there still needs to be more space. Okay, yep, that works. And then one last finger. One last finger to rule them all. Okay. Whoop. That was not meant to be there. Okay. Now, do I hazard a chance at putting the fingernails on? Why not? That just undid what I wanted it to do. Okay. Okay. 2 down. I don't hate it yet. No. Does it really need that back part? Give me a moment. That needs to be thinner. Yeah, I think for this it needs the back part. Even if it's just a little bit. Come on. Here we go. No. Perspective-wise, that would not be looking correct. And all of a sudden, that finger looks very, very thin. But I could go for it. I could go for it. All right. All right, that looks pretty decent. I just added that for no freaking reason. There we go. So that side of her upper body looks fine. And my mouse decided to stop working. And accidentally swab. Hands are difficult, even when you do it right. Your brain says it looks weird. Lol, it's just because there are so many moving parts and cylinders to a hand, but it still trips your brain up. That is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. This was probably actually the first time in a while that I've actually tried drawing the hands with these cylinders drawn in. I would always try before this drawing to sort of draw the hands with like a Bruce Timm type of method, and the hands would just always look way too flat. So this way is definitely much better than that way, because it actually looks 10 times better. Okay. Get the collarbone in there. And on this side. Okay. And from up here, I can finish up the hair. I'll leave that. Just to add in some variation. Indeed, the prep work goes a long way to helping the inking turn out right. Amen to that, my friend. Yeah, I think from this point on, whenever I'm doing sketching, I'm probably going to sketch things out with like a cylinder or just like basic basic ugh, getting my tongue twisted, basic shapes mindset, and pretty much just going from there rather than trying to rush through things and just assume where things are. So I think that may have been what I was running into beforehand, where it was just like flying by the seat of my pants and trying to force things to work rather than just letting them take their time. All right, where's this hair strand going? Let's get it down to here at least. Get that going there. Okay, that should work. And then going down past the tiara, or I guess the talisman. Can't be forgetting her namesake. Okay, that part needs to be thicker. And this part needs to be thicker. Okay, and I'll go around. Connect that to the shoulder area. Then I have this a little bit thinner so it doesn't take away from that. All right. Rushing is definitely something I struggle with. I want to jump from sketch straight into colors and final forms. Every time I slow down and flesh things out before final forms, I'm always really happy with the result. Now I know what you mean. It's like my problem is that I'm hyper aware that all the stuff that I want to do takes way more time than I want it to. So I'll try. One part of my brain tells me to rush through it, and the other more rational part of my brain says you can't rush through this if you want it to turn out good. And up until now, I have tried to ignore that part of my brain. Right now, I'm trying to get used to the part of my brain that says, good art takes practice. If you don't practice, dipshit, then you're going to not get better. Even just thumbnail sketches and value maps go a long way into what the finished piece looks like. Yes, definitely. Whenever I'm going to further try to come up with like character designs for streams and just like art in general on streams, I'm definitely going to try incorporating thumbnail sketches into it, especially if I want to have a character like doing like an action pose or something like that, because it'll make it so much more easy to pull that thumbnail sketch into a larger canvas and then systematically break it down with what I want in that piece. I'm hoping that I'll get better with time, or like with my timing, whenever it comes to actually finishing up art pieces, and hopefully not take multiple days to finish up just one piece. And Accidentally Suave says, practice is the key. Definitely. The year I committed to Sketchtember, Inktober, and Huevember, my art progressed by light years. The only one of those that I've known about is Inktober. I did not know about the other ones. But now that I do, maybe I'll make that into a stream subject. Perhaps. We shall see. There was one time when I did a challenge, not for like one of those specifically named months, but I just decided to draw for 30 days straight in like an actual sketchbook. And it did definitely help with my drawing. My only problem was actually sticking to it after the challenge was over. And that's honestly my main weakness, is just sticking with something, because I'll go for like a month and I'll think that I have the I'll think that I have my brain rewired so that it's a habit, and then I'll pause for a day or two, and then it'll turn into a week, then it'll turn into a month, and then what do you know? I'm back at square one. It's one reason why I'm hoping that these streams do continue happening. It's my plan that they continue happening, and yeah, hopefully. Well, I can't really say hopefully my art will progress while I'm doing this, because technically it already has, because I like how this drawing is turning out more so than my previous pieces. So, all I need to do is I need to keep up the habit of actually sitting down and drawing. So, actually being here on screen is sort of my way of holding myself accountable. So it's sort of like my streaming is like my artistic therapy, my unofficial artistic therapy, if you can look at it that way. The hair is turning out fantastic. Looks very natural. Thank you. Hair is something. How do I put this? Hair is quite difficult for me to draw in the way that I want to draw it. It's like, give me a moment. I'm trying to pull up an example of how I would like to draw it. It's like, okay. So here we go. Okay. Stop sharing that screen. And then you're going to see my ugly mug for a second. And then there we go. So if I could end up drawing hair like J. Scott Campbell, like how you can see there's certain parts of it that he has blocked out, and then other parts he's able to go in with more details and add certain strands of hair and not make it look like it's clumped together. that's my end goal. Being able to have something like this that looks pretty and also slightly simple to draw. And I only say simple because it's like once you get the certain separations for it, then you just have to go in and add like the extra strands of hair that give it the detail. But yeah, that's my end goal. Don't know how long it will take or if it'll actually end up being what it looks like, but we'll see. Yeah, hair is strange too. It's wispy at times, but has to have volume too, or it looks flat and matted. Yep. My problem before is that it would end up looking like where did my pencil go? It would end up looking like spaghetti, like way too thick. So that's my main problem whenever it comes to drawing hair, making it look too thick. So we can close out of that. Get back to my screen. There we go. Yeah, it's slowly working its way there. Now I just have to figure out how to do this part. How am I going to do that? This part will just go straight up to her ear. No, that looks off. Okay, how's this going to work? If I do it this way, that works. It doesn't have this big gigantic clump at the back of her head, so that works. And then this is what I mean by just adding the extra strands of the hair. Because it needs to look like it's coming out of the right places and not take away too much focus. Nope. Okay, I can get behind that. And then this part would be coming down here. Okay. So that's an okay line weight. That doesn't take away from anything. And we can leave this part in the back with not too many hair strands. Just because we don't want to take away from all of the rest of the detail. But yeah, right there. And then, no, that's too parallel. That's the other problem that I have with hair. Sometimes I just make the lines too parallel in the wrong area, and then it just looks weird. So, but then there's also times whenever you need to have it be parallel. That's not right here, so okay. So that looks good. Lengthen those lines a little bit. That part might need adjusted. Yep, that's definitely going to need adjusted. See, drawing women is tricky. Unless you're drawing like She-Hulk or a decidedly bulky woman, you need to be very careful with the shoulders. Because if it gets too big, then it gets distracting and it throws off the balance of the body. Some things just take a long time. That Starry Night, Nightmare Before Christmas painting I did took a month of at least a few hours a night and extra on the weekends. Holy mackerel. That is some dedication there. Props to you. If you look at my first video, my art progression 2019 through 2024, at minute 241, you can see it. I will have to go back and I will watch that. That'll be cool. Making all the little brush strokes took forever. Whenever I was in college, I had to do a stippling drawing, or I guess it would be like a stippling art piece, where it's like you take a pen or a marker or some sort of thing that has ink and you dot it on the page. And like for darker sections, you would dot it a lot closer and a lot more firmly. And the places where you'd want to be lighter, you would have the dots like in further apart and lighter. That took my fingers were hurting after that one. I'll do these backwards. Oh yes, I love stippling, but it also takes forever. Definitely. One of these days I may pull it out on stream just to show what it looked like, but not right now. Now I have other stuff to take care of. Dedication, well, yes, it was part of the proposal to my wife. Oh, that's sweet. Yeah. I always think that creative proposals they're fun to see. It's like I put this much dedication into this proposal. This is just a a small helping of the dedication that I will give you in marriage. So I feel like that's a good starting point. Okay. Think. I can do is I can just go all the way up here, have her erase this part so it can be complete. There we go. Throw that up there. Dang it. Okay. Okay. Do you not think that she was going to say yes? Said, I didn't believe her when she said yes. I was just like, for really reals? And if you're going to put that much time into a painting, I would hope that she would say yes. All right. Okay, so that's where the costume is going to... I have to remember where certain parts of the costume are. Because she has like a... sort of like an under boob window. I guess like a reverse Power Girl look. So this part comes up around here. And this... Okay. That part... Okay. Nope. Too thick. There we go. Much better. All right. Now that is one bit of curvature that you want to get right, especially when drawing women. I'm okay with that. Mm-hmm. Okay. A line there. And then that there. Sorry if I'm being a little bit more silent in this area, guys. It is 11:48. So this is usually the time whenever I'll be like winding down. So I think what I'll end up doing is I'll finish up a little bit more of like this chest area and maybe some of the waist. And then I'll call it quits for the night. That works. Okay. Oop. I think my favorite part was I already had the Starry Nights. Ooh, that's a really cool design. I had the Starry Night style ring when making the painting and could just play off my anxiety as, oh babe, I'm working on a painting for you. She never saw it coming. It's always the ones that they don't see coming that are the ones that make the most impact. All right. That's the last bit of hair back there. Let's finish up this elongated boob window. And I think what I'll do is I'll try to get down to like hip area. And then maybe I'll continue this on another stream at some point. Or I may just finish it up off stream. We shall see. There are multiple options for what I can do. I think there needs to be some sort of line there. No, there doesn't need to be a line there. Okay. Alrighty. Thank you so much for sharing your art here on Rumble. Have a happy 4th of July. You too. I'm probably going to stream at some point on July 4th. I just don't know when exactly. And I don't know what I'm going to stream. So we'll see what ends up happening. But yeah, I'm glad that you were able to stop by. It was fun talking with you. Hopefully, I'll continue to improve, and hopefully, we'll see you back in other streams and also putting out some more content. So, yeah, I made sure to stop by. Actually, what I have tried to do in previous streams is I have tried to advertise for stuff that sticks out to me, like comic campaigns and creators that I like, and I have not done that as of yet on this stream. So, for anybody who watches this stream back and makes it to the 2-hour mark, then definitely go and check out Accidentally Suave. And you can go and support him, go and check out his art. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you back on here putting out some more content, Accidentally Suave. It definitely looks really cool. But yeah, go subscribe to him. Let's get him over 100. And yeah, it'll be my quick little advertisement for you. All right. So Okay, guys. Give me a moment. Gotta stretch before I do my outro. Okay. So, if you guys would, please like, comment, and subscribe, if you would, on either YouTube or Rumble. I also have an X account, which you can find at, I believe it's Ryan Creates 94. Give me a second. Let me confirm my own username. Da, da, da. Yep, Ryan Creates 94. And Accidentally Suave says, "Thank you, bro. Keep calm and art on." I like that catchphrase. That is an interesting one. You can it definitely shows the artistic side. But yeah, go and support Accidentally Suave. Go and support me. Like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube and on Rumble. And I will see you guys whenever I decide to stream or put out a video next. So let's get to end the stream. I still need to work on my outros, guys. So thank you for putting up with me. I will see you guys in the next thing that I do. Have a good night.